Hey class, it is Mr. Creighton here. So we are going to officially start drawing today. And before we actually really get into drawing, we just have to do a quick review of what your pencils actually do and what they're used for. So you should have 4 different types of pencils, not including the number 2 pencil or the ebony, which we're not going to use today. You're going to use the actual drawing pencils that don't have erasers. So in order for us to test those out, what I'm going to have you guys do is flip your sketchbook horizontally, so the long way, longer than it is tall. So open that thing up and then rotate your sketchbook horizontally, and we're going to draw 4 rectangular boxes. So 4 small rectangular boxes. We're going to use this as a way to warm up and test out what your pencils are doing. So kind of warming up before you draw is important, something we're going to start doing now that we're not intro students anymore. That's important because it allows you to just kind of shake off the rust. It allows you to get in the right mindset and right mind frame, and also gets your muscles loose and ready to work. So once you have these 4 rectangles, you are going to shade them in, and we're going to apply a little bit of pressure on the left, and then we'll apply more pressure as we go towards the right. Again, you'll apply a little bit of pressure on the left and then more pressure as we go towards the right. Well, here's the thing. In your pencil set, each pencil does its own thing. So I'm gonna have you guys take a pencil that's called 2H. 2H, and 2H is your lightest pencil. So 2H is light. If you're not sure what 2H stands for, when you have a pencil, H stands for hard. The graphite inside your pencil, so you know that thing that people call pencil lead, it's still a little bit blurry there. That actually is determines how dark that pencil is. So H stands for hard. The harder the graphite, the lighter the pencil is. So what I'll have you guys do is take your pencil, hold it on the side like you'd be shading, and press as lightly as you can on the left. This is going to allow for you to see a little bit of the range of this pencil. So press lightly, and as you get towards the right, apply more pressure. So as you fill that box in, what you'll notice is this pencil doesn't get very dark. Doesn't get very dark. And so that pencil is traditionally used for sketching because it's so light. So again, that pencil is going to be traditionally used for sketching. I'm going to zoom in here for a second because we don't need that 2H anymore. So the next one is your HB. And the HB is a very standard pencil. So HB is medium. So anytime you look at a pencil, if you see B, B stands for black, which means the pencil is darker. So H is for hard and the pencil is lighter. And then if you see that B, that stands for black and the pencil is soft. And the softer that pencil is, the darker it writes and draws. So what I'll have you guys do now with our medium pencil, press lightly on the left, and again, it even helps to go on a diagonal here. Press lightly on the left. Ooh, that's already darker than my 2H. Apply a little bit more pressure. Apply even more pressure. And then what you'll see is this thing should be darker on the right than it is on the left. As long as you apply more pressure, that should happen. And what you'll also notice is that our medium pencil should be a darker value than our light pencil. All right, next up is the dark pencil. This is called 2B. 2B. So 2B, and that's going to be dark. So if you look at the number on that, so the key here is that, again, anytime you see the letter B, that means the pencil is darker. And the higher the number, the darker that pencil is. So 2B, of course, would be darker than an HB. So what I will do is I'm going to hold my pencil, low, like I'm shading on a diagonal. I'm going to press lightly. Apply more pressure. And this pencil should be darker overall than the last pencil. So again, when you shade, which we'll do eventually, the more pressure you apply, the darker things are. And if you look, hopefully you can tell that 2B is going to be darker than your HB. So the graphite is softer, which makes it darker. And then the last pencil in your set should be a 6B. And our 6B is going to be the darkest. So the 6B actually replaces your ebony pencil. So again, that 6B is going to replace your ebony pencil. It's just a higher quality pencil than your ebony pencil is. So it's going to replace that. And what you'll do is the same exact thing. Same exact thing. Shade lightly on the left. Start adding pressure as you approach the middle. Add even more pressure as you approach the right. And what you should hopefully see is that this thing is darker than the last pencil. If you remember working with the ebony pencil in Intro to Drawing, this is the level of darkness that you would achieve with that. So hopefully you can tell that this pencil is darker than the 2B and also darker than your HB. So we're just kind of showing off the range. So when you draw, 2H is usually used for sketching and getting your line work in. HB is used for sketching or doing medium values. 2B is going to be for your dark values, and 6B will be for the darkest values that are furthest away from your light source. So that's the range. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick warm up here. So a little warm up just to get your muscles a little bit loose and ready to draw. So if we're going to be doing sketching and just warming up a little bit, you would not use a 6B, get that thing out of here. You would not use a 2B, get it out of here. We would want to use our HB or 2H, just get this rolling. I'm going to use my HB just so you can see it clearly on the screen. But in order to warm up, we're just going to make some little circles. So if you look at this old sketchbook I got, this is a one-way artist warm-up. Some of you guys might not have drawn for a super long time, so we're just going to warm up and make little circles just to get your wrists loose and your shoulders loose. And yeah, you got to do this with me just to kind of earn your points for the time being. So what I'm going to have you guys do is below your scale, just make a little baby circle. And if you remember this from Intro to Drawing, you go around until you get it round. So trying to make it actually a circle. We don't want something like this. We don't want like an oval. Try to get it circular, like as an even all the way around. So what we'll do next, for that next circle, go up a size. So go up a size and go around until you get it round. So just move your wrist in a circular fashion. And because I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, it's just the way we are, you know, due to sin, of course. So it helps to kind of go around multiple times. It might take you 3 times, it might take you several times, but go around until it feels even on all parts. All right, so next circle, increase the size, double it, and you are going to go around that thing until you get it round. Next up, double it one more time and go around until, you know, you already know, until you get it. Go around. All right, that's looking kind of even. Here's the deal though. What happens is because we're not perfect people, that includes your teacher, Mr. Creighton, it is hard to eventually increase the size. If I try to double this or make a much bigger circle, it's difficult because I'm not perfect. So that's where guidelines come in. So we're just kind of reteaching this stuff just so we're all on the same page before we draw an object. If you try to draw a circle that's double the size of this, it's hard to get it even. So what we do is we draw our shape inside of a simple shape that can keep both sides and top and bottom even. So if you guys draw a square below, square that's larger than your last circle, if you can double it, that would be great. Let me shift this up a little bit so you guys can hopefully see that. Okay, bingo, bingo. All right, and here's the deal. We use guidelines, and guidelines are lines to help you keep your drawing symmetrical and provide a path for you too as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll draw a vertical guideline in the middle, and then a horizontal guideline in the middle. And that creates sections for me to hit as I draw this, because it's hard to go all the way around and keep this even. So what you can do is you can move your shoulder in a circle as you draw, but also use those guides. So as I draw this now, I'm going to come up, hit this section, bring it on back down. So I'm going to try to even this out as even as I can. Don't erase it though. Just draw over it. I don't want you guys to be erasing, just draw over it. No erasing quite yet. I know you do have erasers in your set, but we're not dealing with that right now. And I even got to go outside of my original box just to try to even this out a little bit. And that happens. So just go around until you get it as round as you can. All right, and I'm going to stop there. All right, here's the deal. And actually, even if I look at, I can probably adjust the bottom a little bit. Bottom looks a little bit more flat. All right, now here's the deal. We are going to draw your good old friend. You remember this? You remember that? Light bulb. You might be thinking, Mr. Creighton, oh man, we already drew this too many times. Well, the reason why we're going to draw it again is to shake off the rust. It helps to draw something that you know in order to get back in the mode, and then I'll have you guys draw something on your own after this video wraps up. But if you look at the light bulb, that light bulb is this light bulb. We want to set up guides. So this is from my old sketchbook. But we want to set up guides in order to keep this symmetrical. It provides a path for us to draw. And that part's important. So we're going to observe the shape like we did in Intro to Drawing. So if we break this down, the top side, of course, is circular. Bottom side is more oval in shape. If we're just thinking about them as simple shapes. So we observe it, identify our shapes. Then we draw the outside or the largest shape first. In this case, the largest shape is the top. And then we draw the bottom. Once we then modify those shapes to make sure they look the way they need to be, make sure you're checking them, then we work our way to the inside details. So outside, inside, outside, inside. So observe outside, inside. Confused myself for a second. All right, here we go. All right, so what I want you guys to do is, the key is we want to set up guidelines for us to work with. I'm going to slide this over. And thinking about the pencil you would start with, I'm going to start with a 2H. So I'm going to start with a 2H pencil just to kind of give me something lighter to sketch with, and then I'll transition to darker ones. But again, it helps, and I'll leave this on here too, so just so you can see an example of what a light bulb sketch looks like as we work through this. So good, you can see that. All right, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'll leave that there too. That way you can see that. And I am not going to erase, by the way. So that's not going to happen in this case. Actually, let's do, there we go. So hopefully you can see both of these. Okay. This light bulb is almost about twice as tall as it is wide. Again, I'm not going to be doing any erasing here. I'm just going to sketch this out just so you guys can see it. All right, so what I'm going to do now, let me adjust this, make sure this is even. So I'm going to draw a symmetrical guideline. And those are our guides to build this. What I'll do next is I'm going to basically create a space to draw the circle in. Circle is a little bit taller than halfway on this thing. So I'm going to draw a guideline that's a little bit taller than halfway. All right, so what we'll do now is we are going to draw a curve inside that top space, over inside that bottom space, and then get this connected. And if you have trouble keeping it even, remember you can draw extra guides. This might look like nothing, but it's going to turn into a light bulb. I'm drawing kind of an awkward way. Remind me never to draw like this again. So let's get that curve set. And again, I am not erasing. Once I have the lines I need, I'm going to draw over them. I'm really going to encourage you not to erase right now. It's important that you see the lines you're drawing with. All right, what we'll do now is we're going to draw the oval shape in the bottom. So you want to get that in. So let's build our oval shape at the bottom. It's going to be like a little hot dog. Try to get both of these sides even through here. Boom. Okay. And then all we do is we just connect these. So the left gradually turns into the right. Right gradually turns into the left. And it's a little bit like that. All right, what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna switch pencils here. I am gonna switch to my HB, so really that sketch is set up. You can tell that this is the shape of a light bulb. Is it this light bulb? No, it's not finished, but at least allows for me to have something to roll with. So I'm switching to my HB so I can move in and start adjusting the shape and then working our way to our inside details. So what we'll do now is if you look at, we have one major detail at the bottom. There's those ridges. So that metallic piece, you can actually plug in the light bulb so it conducts electricity. We're gonna draw that. Remember, because the light bulb is curved, any lines on it will curve too as well. So I'm gonna break this into a separate section, kind of cut this area off with a slightly curved line. So anytime we draw, we work our way from big to small. So this is a bigger shape. The ridges on the inside are small, so we won't do those quite yet. And then I'm gonna draw the small black piece at the bottom. So that part is dark. Even if you wanna switch to your 2B pencil, just to make sure that that feels black, feel free to do so. And then continue working with your HB. All right, so what we'll do next is we're gonna set up the ridges. So again, those ridges do curve. If you struggle with drawing those ridges side to side. Feel free to make a mark on the left, make a mark on the right, and connect them. That's one way. So that's an extra guide. Guides never hurt you. They always help you. So if you have trouble lining up the left and the right, make a mark on both sides and just draw a curved line in between. You should have roughly about 4 or 5 ridges by the time this is done. So set up those sections. And then all that will happen is if you look at the light bulb, this looks like a little honeycomb right now. The reason why we can tell these ridges are 3D and metallic is if you look at each ridge, the top of the ridge is light, the bottom is darker. Again, the top of the ridge is light, the bottom is darker, and there's also like a lighter value in the middle because that's where my light source is coming from. So if I take my pencil and shade in the bottom side of that ridge a little bit, so not the top of it, but the bottom of each section. If you were to shade in the bottom of each section and then also leave the middle a little bit lighter, that's going to start giving it kind of like a sheen. And for some of you guys, I might be going too slow. Some of you guys, I might be going too fast. Because I do have to move maybe a little bit faster than I would in class. Just because technically, I don't have to slow down for students. You can always pause it to draw things. And also, if you need to, you can also speed it up or slow it down just because it's recorded. So that's probably fine. So do what works best for you. But what will happen is if you look really closely at the drawing I have and also the real ridges, they do curve around the object. So if you were to add a little curve line around, so each ridge actually curves around the light bulb. I'm going to try to press hard enough that you can see it. And if you want to add a touch of contrast, switch to your 2B. You can make parts of these ridges just a touch darker and kind of increase the contrast there. There we go. Just to make that part really, really work. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're just going to kind of quickly get in or kind of wrap up the shape of the light bulb. So I'm going to still use my HB. Again, HB is used for our medium values and for sketching, kind of getting your lines in. I'm just going to kind of go over this to make sure that this feels pretty tight here. So I'm not going to erase, but I do want to make sure that you can see my shape. And then I'm going to finish the rest of the inside. So if you look really closely, the inside of the light bulb does have some glares. So there's reflected light. So there's kind of a circular piece near the middle. There's some pieces near the top.